Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, it's August. Well, August is often one of the most quiet times of year. So, we do have some news today, though. Let's see here. What is it? We get like ISM manufacturing PMIs. So that is a pretty influential number. I think that it will be relatively quiet until then. We do have at 7:45 the S&P PMI. So today will probably be okay. But just be careful. This August period is like where like everybody's on vacation, right? Because school starts up soon. Let's go to the charts. Well, I think the big thing on Friday. Well, actually, there's two things that this whole thing going into the close. So going into the close on Friday, markets were like really tense about action in Iran. And then over the weekend, Donald Trump said, actually, the Saudis asked me not to, so they jumped up. Granted, we didn't breach the highs here. So that's, right? But then the other thing, let me skip ahead here. The Japanese yen, they did see that intervention. So it was the 31st. Yeah, I really want to zoom in on this because when we came in here on the 31st, right, and we were kind of getting this jump overnight, and I said, well, I think you buy the Japanese yen because they're doing intervention. And well, what do you know? We are higher. It looks like there's been multiple buys. So this looks like a bit more of a more serious intervention, right? Ooh, I mean, when you zoom out, you really can see. And then when you come onto a daily. Okay, so let's see here. When was the last time that they really heavily intervened? Was it here, December? Right? I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. One of the things that you get is there will be intervention, but then the things that were causing the selling don't change and they come back in. Okay, so keep that in mind. I don't know if the longer term trend is going to shift around here or not, right? But in the short term, they're buying it, and I want to be long. S&P 500, good jump over the weekend as well. Oil really got. Whew, look at that. That was like what? Almost $8 drop over the weekend? Well, I suppose that's good for the economy, right? Yeah. Gold and silver. Well, silver is really in a range there now. That's interesting. This one, if tensions were to ease and interest rates were to come back down, I think that silver could really take off. Like there's some signs of consolidation, volatility contraction. That looks like a good base to jump from, but we would need the right conditions, right? Copper was looking good, but taking a hit this morning. And we already looked at the Japanese yen. And then Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin going into the weekend took a bit of a hit. It's kind of funny because when I was looking on social media, they were all freaking out again. It's like every time Bitcoin goes down, you see people on Reddit like, oh, why me? Oh, it's so bad. But in the bigger picture, was it really that big of a drop? I don't know. Of course, that could always continue. You gotta really, if they go and they test those lows again in Bitcoin, it'd be very destructive. So, and that could, if tensions in the Middle East rise up again, that is definitely a problem you could have. So, yeah. All right. Good morning, Kevin, Ray, Belligerent, and Demir. Hope you guys had a good weekend. This week, today, we will have the till 9 o'clock live stream. The rest of the week will probably be shortened because I'm doing a convention. So, it kind of makes me think, because I'm like, yeah, you know, here in Utah, we have a decent number of conventions and things. It's kind of nice. But, you know, we used to have this outdoor expo, and that moved. They moved because they're like, Utah's not progressive enough for us. We want to punish Utah. I kind of feel like that's why they did it. And now it is just like super hot in Utah. And I'm kind of starting to wonder, do people really want to continue to do conventions here in Utah? If it's this hot. It's this hot because it is so flipping hot out there right now. What's the weather going to be this week? Is it going to cool down maybe? Full forecast. Oh, it's 90 today. That's not bad. 90. It was really hot yesterday. So that must mean we're getting some more moisture coming up from the Gulf of California. But it'll be right back up to 102 this weekend. Cloudy, actually. That's good. Then Sunday, some maybe moisture coming up again. Huh? All right. So the next thing I've got to do here is get oh, okay. So I had done refactoring. I need to come in and retest the performance. So I guess you guys do get to see the latest change. This one's pretty good. It's pretty good, actually. I was a little bit surprised at how much code it took. And there was a lot of performance issues that we had to take care of with it and everything. Now I'm doing some cleanup passes on it. But it was pretty good before this cleanup pass, so hopefully they didn't introduce a performance issue. Treasury is kind of on the downside here to start the day with, huh? Okay, so here's our charting platform. I've got some charts, and now look, ooh, there's a crosshair. What do you think of them? Super smooth too. It's actually not quite as smooth as when I didn't have OBS running. I wonder. But, you know, there is some... Now, one thing is that it kind of sticks to the bar. I think they may have actually made it because it does not seem as smooth as it was. Nexus 5 is back up and running. Well, cool. I'm surprised that you guys go there every day to see. changes that it made shouldn't affect performance. So it may, but it's probably just OBS. But oh, you know what? It's because it's August. We need to roll this one over here, don't we? Oh, is that not? And Q, yes. Will the liquidity be any better in August, though? Well, I'm already, having switched, I'm already disappointed. Ah, per sec median dropped from 115 to 51. So there's no way for me to know without shutting down the stream, basically. Must say, liquidity in the 10-year treasury is awfully healthy for August. It makes me wonder when we get to post-Labor Day action, what we'll get. I mean, it's been a few years, but I don't think I've ever seen this much liquidity in the summer. Of course, it's been a really long time since we've been in the 6,000s as well. Remember there for a while, it was just 1 to 2,000. I think, though, what's happening is these carry trades with the treasuries has just gotten extremely popular. Well, I'll have it run it again after the stream. There's no reason to move ahead. This is something that relates directly to the user's perception of how quick the application is. So it's worth taking the time now and making sure that it got it right.
Block cell.
Well, you know what? In the meantime, we should keep the application open. This one should be DX. Let's also put our opening range on there. Okay. So does that look about the same? No, they're different. It's getting the number the same though. Oh, okay. One of the things I like about my platform is you can zoom out a lot further, right? Okay, so I cannot explain
Block cell.
the difference in the numbers. These numbers in ES look pretty much the same. But my dollar index levels look different. Like this line right here. Seems to me that the open actually I can't explain that either. Because it doesn't draw the open. 99.69 versus 99.8. Could be because they're on different expirations. Now we'll do that over here in a new session. I am actually, well, I'm thinking maybe it's because of expirations, but I'm not sure. Is it because this one is a 1 minute and this one is a 5 minute? No. 9.8. And then I don't know what the, I don't think here in the dollar index that I can change like the factors. It might actually be a problem with the Ninja Trader site. I don't know. $15.81. So it's kind of hard to judge because this isn't showing the open. So I can't see, like, maybe it's got a slightly different open, right? But then I look at that and I'm like, yeah, but this goes right up to the line. So, like, one, it's kind of weird that this one, it seemed to bounce off of that line, but two, like, it's not even close to the line over here. It's doing something weird. Can't explain it. But I'm trying to think of a way that I can, like, a good way that I can debug this without, like, pulling down the individual calculations, you know? One of the things is that my platform doesn't show you the current price with a, like, a price bubble. It's probably something we need to add. Wonder if I should, like, move you guys over here. Oh, I can see liquidity in the micros now. It's still terrible. Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. the dollar index. I think that these numbers are wrong. Minus tick size times 4. So the first thing I'm noticing is that this number that it gives of the number of ticks is kind of broken because it's using the tick size of the master instrument and not the tick size of the dollar index, which I think is like a 0.01. And so this 3271 is wrong. And 327, why is it 327 versus 3271? That's really weird to me. Does appear to be a dollar index specific thing though, so maybe my platform is correct. Oh, you know what else is why? See, this is 99.8, and I don't think. Oh no, it's doing. And mine has 99.85. This should be there, basically. I would think that the dollar would be a relatively important factor today, though. Okay. So 100% of the discrepancy is in OpenPX. It thinks that NinjaTrader charts the actual ICE-DX contract, but that's wrong. Oh, your ETH inker is being taken 2 hours earlier than NinjaTrader's. That's interesting. So it's saying it starts at 1600. And this starts at 1500. No. 1601. There it is. A strange discrepancy, though. They are slightly different. Um, Oh, well, that's not good. It's a regression. So why are their opens different? Still wondering, this one might be more accurate. Mine might be more accurate, which would be kind of weird. There's still some weirdness in here, though, like these numbers are closer. I don't know. Oh, didn't notice there that the ES is taking a hit. Korean retail traders vow not to buy after historic rout. Oh. Okay. Okay. So Israeli news is reporting that Iran has declined the United States offer to open the Strait of Hormuz until the war is completely over. That's got to be why we're selling. And I kind of just want to sell it now. All right. Oil is not exactly bullish. That was a good question. Well, let's switch this over to swing. Because they've got plenty of room before. And in this case, I think you want to look for the S&P 500's downside target, 75.17. Ninja Trader anchored on the prior bar's close. So we haven't gotten anything from the Iranians. It is a little odd that it seems that oil is not following. And now Pakistan is saying that no negotiations are scheduled yet, even though Donald Trump said that they would be talking today. Ooh, this gets interesting, guys. Oh, what? I was trying to put a stop in it, thought that I wanted out and took a profit. So, oops. Kind of feel like in this case that 2000 is way too tight. Right, and the E-mini seems to be shrugging that headline off, so. we'll let that play out. I think the headline is probably correct. And like, because the thing is everything that I read over the weekend was that it was Saudi Arabia and the outlines of a deal with Saudi Arabia, and that Iran still wasn't talking to the US, basically. Okay, so I think we get stopped out there, yeah. Which is correct. So I think what's going on over here is that my synthetic dollar index, it's calculating the levels based on close of the previous session instead of the open of the session. And then in the dollar index, the calculation for the levels is maybe messed up. Although I'm still a little because we've definitely seen it bounce hard off of those levels before, so. Like, not just, way it happens. It's like pretty consistent. Okay. So I screwed up a little bit on that one. What did it actually give me? Oh, it's fine. Still looks pretty bullish, and the treasuries are looking bearish, so. Valid news, maybe ES is affected by the market open, or they're just dismissing it. I don't know. Maybe they're not denying the headline, but just saying it doesn't matter at this time. Like, yeah, the strait is closed. They're still negotiating again. Bullish, something like that. Okay. Got lucky on that one. I think I ironed out all of my execution quirks here, so... The treasuries have been selling pretty hard through this first part of the session, but there was a little bit of a fight there. Well, they're back to the open. I guess I got to keep an eye on oil here if there's a spike in oil. Suppose, though, if there's a spike in oil, it would be easier to short the 10-year treasury than the NASDAQ. Seems to think that the difference between the two here are minimal. I don't know. Good. Other spot. Okay, so there's the S&P number. 53 spot 9 versus expected 53 spot 8, so slightly better than expected. I was really curious how oil sold off. And it wasn't just that oil didn't pop. It sold from 79.4 to 78.6. So a relatively large drop even. Must fill upper gap. Think we've studied that one before and determined that it didn't matter, right? Oh, wait. I'm not sure what you mean by upper gap. You must mean in oil. Why? You saying that we need to go all the way back up to 90.84? That would be kind of funny if we did that today, actually. Microsoft up 5% and 26% over 3 days. Really? Oh, you meant oil. Nah, the statistics I've done on gap fills suggested that it was not really very effective. There definitely can be a mean reversion effect, though. Yeah, but necessarily not today. Yeah, it seems like... Well, I'm not sure what's with oil, but... Okay. Interesting. Rejection up at the high again. Oh, it didn't get filled. Well, now I did get filled, and it was a bad one. I don't know. Doing these little scalps in NQ is fun, but I don't think that there's enough edge in it to justify the amount of effort that it requires. I think the thing with the Israel headline is they always tend to be first. I've noticed that they tend to come out earlier, especially if it's bad news. So I think there's really high headline risk right now. Like, you've got to be careful trying to hold on to a long here in the S&P 500. Because an American news agency might come out and say more, and Trump says oil firms get your prices down. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh man. That one makes me a little nervous, but I'll go for it. Nope. It's close. It's interesting that SPOOs are at high and NASDAQ is not. Because as of late, when we've been moving up, NASDAQ has led, no? Oh, here's another dangerous one. I guess they're not going to fill that one. Ugh. Did that one take a larger than... No, it was still right on. Oh, that sucks that it's been 2, but then we've had 3. I had 1 in the swing, though, that was... One of these was a mistake, so we can give ourselves 1 more. Okay, there's a new high. Could try chasing it. Nope. I don't like that. Better. Whew. I feel like maybe it would be a little bit less nerve-wracking if it was 64 ticks instead of 32 ticks. Treasury is still stuck in its range. It's probably too close to the news now to touch it. Okay, there's a good volume node at 576. Chelt. And E-mini is getting to its first sigma, but the NASDAQ isn't quite there. If they decide to extend beyond that, though, oh boy. There's the liquidity thinning out in the treasuries, and they slump back down to the lower end of the range. Pay attention to that. Manufacturing prices paid in addition to the headline number. Headline number 53.9 is what the estimate or median estimate is. So very curious that we're at first sigma in equities right here on this big news release. And it's good. 55.6 versus 53.1. Prices paid equal though, so I kind of miss it, but I kind of feel like you buy the dip there in the treasury for a small scalp. Okay, so that number is good. I mean, that would be overall bad for the treasuries, but it's probably a wash. Like the headline number being 2 points higher isn't a huge deal if the prices paid are roughly equal. So although note that they were at 108.12 before the news. So, maybe if you're quick, reverse it. But I wasn't fast enough on thinking about that one to pull that off. So I am kind of wondering here, though. Well, should I put myself on the line here? I think. Oh no, that's wrong. I need to have it. Okay. I think that you go short here. Not like Mondo big time short, unless a news headline falls through, right? But YM is 1.4. That's a pretty big move for the Dow Jones. Keep forgetting NASDAQ. It's $5 a tick, right? $160. Yeah. So if first sigma is 833 divided by 4 times $5 a tick is 1,041.
Block sell.
Black sell in the treasury, but they come back to unchanged from before the news. Anyone find Ninja gets stuck laggy after recent updates? Well, I haven't used recent updates, so I couldn't say. Okay, well, there's one already. It's the black cell. Nope, it's just using reconstructed tape to alert me for a market order that's larger than like 3,000. I think my math is a little wrong here somewhere because when it says 5%, that's not. $23.04. 5. I think in this instance, I would want to hold it at least until they open. Or maybe let's put it here. So we've gotten a little bit of downturn, but it was only a teensy-weensy little bit. I was like, well, that looked pretty good, but I think that 1,000 is too tight. For the trade they were making, that's just noise, right? I do kind of feel like that is like, if it's going to get to there, it's pretty likely to go to the open. So I think I'm going to move that target at some point. Maybe a little bit of lift there. Yeah, right back. Just gotta remind myself. So what is the play here? One, mean reversion after the options level hit in the NASDAQ in particular. Plus, I'm worried about a negative headline coming through. And we had ISM was a little bit hot. That you know, kind of hurt treasuries a little bit. So there might be a little bit of selling in the equities because of that. It does kind of feel, though, like that there might be some really bullish sentiment out there canceling that out. It's because there's been some real fight through this, right? Also, we're seeing oil come back to where it was, to the higher end of its range. We're not seeing the other instruments really react to that, but that's curious that oil has come back up. I'm trying to think, like if we make it to +2 sigma today in equity indexes, How do I explain that? I'm not sure I can. Even if I come out here to like these daily charts, like it's been very bullish the past few days. Then was there a headline in there that should make us extra bullish today? Like, I don't feel like that there is. I think that at that point I could only chalk it up to sentiment. Suppose there could be some other institutional flows that I'm not aware of that have to do with the beginning of the month and the stuff going on in Korea and all that. Say oil is, there's definitely some resistance here, isn't there? And I'm always really weary of using the word support and resistance, because when I say that, I think a beginning trader will go, oh yeah, I should go short oil here. And I still think it's probably anybody's guess which way the oil goes from here. Maybe the E-mini thinks that oil is going to turn back down, though. Like, if you're buying the E-mini right now, you are kind of... I think that you do kind of have to realize that you're making a bet on oil not going much higher today, because... if oil were to punch through that resistance that we've got at 79.40, let's say, you know, it could turn ugly really, really quickly. But I am in the short in the equities primarily because we're at the point where I expect mean reversion flows to come through. And I think that the headline risk is in my favor. Those are the two primary flow factors that I'm betting on. So I kind of wonder if you can have a flow factor that's kind of more fundamental news based and a flow factor that's kind of more technicals, positioning, options based. Like the combination of those, does that make it a better trade? Listening to my news squawk, and it keeps talking about, okay, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook are all up like 4 to 5% today. I mean, those are big stocks. Like, you don't get a 5% move in those very often. So I think that there is something wild going on in allocations here. Like that maybe a ton of money is coming into the Magnificent Seven. Well, it looks like the NASDAQ is gonna make a play for the high. It's Trump magic. Except for, wait, what did Trump do? I don't know. I'm frankly, I'm a little bit tired of this. We're gonna hit him really hard. And then, well, I was gonna hit him, but you know, the Saudis asked me really politely not to. So, like, some people say that Trump always chickens out, but then Trump would argue, well, it's not me, it's the Gulf states that are asking us to hold off. While to me, it's the same thing. Like, either way, you didn't attack. Like, say you're gonna attack, and then somebody calls you off every day. Like, I don't really feel like you're putting the fear in the Iranian leadership that they actively need to make a deal, or it's like the end for them. I don't get that sense. Because the market doesn't seem, the market's kind of like, oh, he says that, well, it'll be fine by the end of the weekend. Yeah. Okay, so they're ticking into the high. Better put my stop down. And the treasuries are looking a lot better there now at 13. Although that may just be rebalancing. Like, it's probably pretty neutral there. If to see a meaningful move above 13, I think we would really need to see some volume come through. Okay, so the NASDAQ ticked through just by a teeny tiny bit, pulled back. Oh, they're already back up there again. When the Ukrainian war started, everyone said it would end quickly, and the markets reacted strongly. But what about now? Well, they reacted. You know, in that case, they reacted strongly for several months too. Like, took a long time for that one for them to chill out on that one. But with this Iran conflict, I guess the thing that I'm kind of saying is that, like, the reaction function of the market is declining. They don't react as much as they did on the Iran headlines, because they don't seem to really seriously believe that anything significant, like real escalation, is going to happen. And if that's what the market thinks, what do you think the Iranians are thinking? That's my only point. By the way, what's the MAE MFE on this? Oh, I actually had more MF only by a teeny tiny bit. Okay, actually that's now more MAE. That last push. Well, I still like the theory, but I'm not really getting any kind of a break here in price or in flow. Like, you look at the cumulative delta here. A little bit of downside, but mostly flat. Oh, I never recentered here these treasuries. I should do that. Ooh, hey, there's that. Is there actually some liquidity? What's going on over here in the micros? Somebody wants to get filled short, huh? 45 contracts, and they've moved it all the way up there. Nobody's filling him. I don't know about that one, guys. Like, that amount would maybe be a robot or a market maker. That's what I think that most of these large amounts out here are, right? But they would never move it that close. And they brought the spread in all the way. They've brought the spread in all the way. Nobody's filling him. I'm not going to fill him. Not going to be me. Are they going to stop me out here? Not quite, but I think that they are going to do it. Trump's plan is to normalize the war. Is it? So that sounds kind of contradictory to me. I thought that Trump's plan was to prevent Iran from ever having a nuclear bomb. I thought that was the plan. It kind of feels to me like normalizing this is maybe counterproductive to preventing Iran from having a nuclear bomb. You know? So the story is that the White House invited the heads of major tech companies to the White House for a meeting on Tuesday. So could that perhaps be a factor behind why some of these tech stocks are moving so hard today. Because some of these numbers I'm looking at, by the way, what is the NASDAQ at now? 1.35%. Well, we are getting a little bit more negative of a candle here. Wouldn't say enough to really turn the order flow negative, but something. Part of me is kind of thinking, though, it's been almost 30 minutes, hasn't it? Yeah, 26 minutes. I'm not getting negative order flow. Maybe maybe that's a sign that we're just wrong. But I think, you know, for the purposes of entertainment, we should just wait and see if they hit or stop or not. Certainly would be easier if they had started out on the downside and you bought the... Well, actually, where was the downside in relative to the... I guess they did get to -1 sigma in the NASDAQ. Could have bought that. Would have been a good trade. On the headline. You know, I don't know. Have we seen the market, you know, ignore a headline like that before? Cold card loses nearly 114 million as small Bitcoin transfers spike. Transfers of less than 1 Bitcoin hit levels last seen days after the FTX collapse, while Galaxy Research flagged the likely fourth wave of thefts. US ISM manufacturing survey surges to strongest in 4 years. S&P Global sees warning signs about the future growth trajectory. Well, I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. Okay. I was a little hitch in my data there. Kind of paused for a second, and then all of a sudden volume picked up and it was slightly to the downside. What's with that? Treasury is still stuck at 13. I do kind of regret when it came back down here. I said, well, maybe it's good for a little bit of a bounce. But I had felt like the bounce had already happened. Kind of regret not just taking it there and going back to 13 and having more confidence than that. Yeah, there's definitely some iceberging there at 672 in the NASDAQ. No! No! Because they're definitely going to bust it now. Look at that. Two down for the day. I'd say I didn't do it. I'd say I didn't do very well today, did I? And the little scalp kind of setup didn't work so well for me either. Wasn't a max loss, but wasn't very good. Guess I'm not too crushed about it. I don't expect any of this stuff in the NASDAQ to actually work. I think this is just the same sort of thing that I keep talking about, is that, like, well, I can lay out a couple of flow factors in the NASDAQ, but there's just too many. And clearly there's a bunch of other factors here pushing it up that I'm not aware of that's leading to the buying, because we've never really got the sell flow that I wanted. I definitely picked a spot far enough away to give it breathing room. There was definitely points at which it looked really, really good. But ultimately, we never got that selling. So we'll probably get stopped out of this. And then later in the day, it will mean revert. I have to say, this is pretty late in the session for them to be setting highs, isn't it? Yeah, okay, there's a stop out. So, like, is this going to turn into a trend up day? Oh, you know what? Totally didn't notice that during all of that, oil spiked higher. Went all the way to 79.70. And the S&P 500 just ignored it. But maybe that's oil going higher because the S&P 500 is so bullish today. But I've got to be missing something because I'm still just don't understand. Iran denies negotiations with the U.S. after Trump announces talks for Monday afternoon. Like, I don't see how you make the case for decreased geopolitical tensions as the bull today. There's got to be some sort of more, I don't know. USD JPY resilience means more intervention is likely. Ooh, and Bitcoin is spiking up today too. So why are they deploying so much capital today? Another thing worth looking at here is like, okay, so the last time oil was this low was July 28th. Yeah, July 28th. You want to come back to the E-mini, like we were much lower in the S&P 500. So I think that there's got to be more to it than oil, right? Oil and geopolitical tensions. Now, NASDAQ may be approaching 2 sigma. Maybe then it'd be worth taking again. I don't know. Days when there's a big weekly gap. Well, I do, you know, the gap thing, I don't think that's true. You're saying something that I really don't think we have data to back up. I've definitely seen days where there's a gap and they just push. And I've seen days where there's a gap and they mean revert. I guess one thing that we could say is that there was a little bit of short-term main reversion, right? It just wasn't nearly enough for us to hit our targets. Now at +2, like beyond +2 sigma, then I really find it difficult to justify. But I think by the time it gets there, it'd be too late for a trade for me, so. The only thing I can think of, though, is that, like, you know, overall, I don't like taking a short in equities. You're better off taking longs in equities. Gosh, yeah, you know what this reminds me of is like, maybe some of the bull run before the 2020 election. But then, especially after COVID, come back. I suppose that there's this period, April to June, was pretty bullish too. this was the trade war thing, man. That feels like so far past. And this is COVID. So you see like some of this post-COVID time period before 2022, because the whole way this played out was we had COVID, and then it was like there was such massive stimulus. Oh, that's funny that I still have a price put on there, because that's funny. Let's put it up to there, because that's where the high ended up being. And I was saying, well, maybe we get the 20% pullback. We did. That's funny. Anyways, eventually this was inflation is bad, and that really hurt things, right? So, but this trajectory after COVID was bonkers. It was absolutely nuts. We were just like flabbergasted the whole time. Actually, I mean, I wasn't like shocked, because I thought, well, yeah, with that much stimulus, of course it's going to go up, but we're going to pay for it in the long run. Yeah, we have. Maybe the market didn't pay for it, but the average person did, you know? But I'm just using that as a comparison for like the degree of bullishness, right? And the degree of bullishness that we've seen in 2024 is pretty crazy, considering that we had this. Well, when did the war with Iran start? Nah, you got to go back to 2024, right? So now when we're back to this was the trade war, and this is Iran. Oh no, wait. Oh, I'm so lost now. Well, let's go back. Let's go and see oil, because the oil will clearly show us it was March. It went higher in March. Okay. Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong year. That's more like trade war. And then March was war with Iran. Tiny blip. You know, like some of this after Iran was pretty crazy market action too. But, I mean, I think you could probably justify it with the longer run thing. But now today, like, you're starting to push it again. It's kind of a strange, like, down and up as well. Overall high percentage, but that's like a useless. Okay, so like here's the thing, is if I come in and I say, when there is a gap, how often is it filled within 1 week or within 1 month, right? Well, nobody ever does that. They come in and they say, well, when there's a gap, what are the chances that it does get filled at some point at any time in the future, right? Well, when you give it infinity time, then yeah, it happens. But what are we trying to do? We're trying to day trade, which means we need to predict flows coming into the market. Does a gap predict the flows that next day reliably? I don't think it does. See, we could do something like look at the net change in cumulative delta on that day when there's a gap and do a statistical analysis of that, right? That would probably be more useful. But I think that you're going to find that is just the normal distribution. Change of cumulative delta to the upside has been pretty strong still, too. They're still pushing hard. So you see it here. Here's the E-mini. I'll zoom in here a little bit. They've still got a little bit of room to go until they get to plus 2 sigma. Here's the NASDAQ. They're almost there. My observation has been that on the downside, the S&P 500 is more likely to stop it. And on the upside, the NASDAQ is more likely to stop it. But in this case, the NASDAQ is outperforming the S&P 500 so much that I don't know if that's... The idea that gaps create a subconscious bias for traders? Well, yeah, but again, one, we really need to have data to suggest that that's actually true. And then number two is that we would much rather have a bias that's more structural in nature, right? Like, if it's a subconscious bias in people, well, then what happens is people start to look at the data and then that changes. So we have some evidence for, you know, flows being predictable from, you know, sigma levels from options and gamma levels from options. We have some evidence to predict flows based on what day of the week it is. But yeah, based on a gap, I haven't never seen that. Well, we got about 10 minutes left. Yeah, I'm a little bummed out. But you know what? I think that the trade that I made was a good shot. It was the wrong play, but it wasn't like a stupid play. So I was wrong that time. That's okay. Wait, why am I having... Oh, because that's extended session. Wait, no, that's not right. Oh, now I'm wigging out. Like, why? That's better. No, that's not better. Oh. Where I was taking my first shot was at regular session plus 1 sigma. And we're at extended session plus 1 sigma. Because we did start the regular session down from the extended session. Okay. Which is why the extended plus 2 is so far out there. That means they could maybe make it to this, but this one seems way too far. Although, I think the bigger thing here is, well, okay, so we got NASDAQ to 1.79. Okay, and like 2% is like the upper end of like the biggest days. Well, we could look at it this way. Charts. Daily. Oh, I guess when you look at the range, because it was a gap, it's not that quite so big. We might get to that ATR stop today, though. That'll be interesting. This ATR stop is where a lot of mean reversion tends to pop through. Actually, interesting how on S&P 500 it's... So maybe I held to that a little bit too strongly, considering that I didn't realize the extended session open was a little bit higher. $28,800, huh? It's a little late, but I wouldn't mind taking the scalp right there. Ta-da! So what did that result in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one was not something else, right? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Break even. Break even on the big ones and then a loss on the swing. Or we could look at it that way. I need to add one more because there was one from the swing that got put in the wrong account. Break even. You know what though, on that one, part of it is I'm like, I don't know how much there really is to this. I do think overall I should do better than that though. I think I may have not, I've been too liberal with executing it. The first day or two I was really, really careful. Maybe I've become too liberal with it. But the problem is just that even with that, you kind of look at how it plays out. Kind of go, yeah, but that's not really not worth it. Like, you probably make a little bit, but it's probably not worth it. I think that this is the same, that I'm getting the same thing. Those are the extended ones, and then it adds the regular ones. Because the Ninja Trader indicator uses close of the previous session. Oh, no. I'm looking at, yes. Yeah, there's the probably on this one, I should have this one set to NQ, huh? I don't know if it matters. This head fake at the beginning, though, it's very, very curious still, isn't it? That was like, yeah, you know what? This is a negative headline, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We're buying today. Why? Because it doesn't matter. Trump always chickens out. I think that's what they're doing. Yeah. Bitcoin up pretty big today too. That's the one that kind of gets me like, Bitcoin, ugh. All right, boys. Well, you know, the thing that sucks is that it won't be able to be very hardcore the rest of the week. But I guess on the scalp it was okay, and then on the swing, I'm okay. I made my choices. I'm okay with it. It was all sim, anyways. I don't necessarily expect to be profitable with trades on NQ. It's for entertainment. I do regret missing the one in the treasury. That could have been a real one. Also, there's still something weird going on over here in the micros. Somebody has brought some liquidity in there, so nobody ever really filled them or did anything with it. But there's good stuff in there. So I am going to get some more vibe coding done. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.